My biggest struggle is after initiating contact, I can tell they are attracted to me, doing hair play and all that. However, I may ask for the number and get it, but I just can't execute further. I hate the idea of setting dates, etc. I used to be a playboy type dude, so it was always hang out, hook up, and I had less responsibilities. Now I have my own place, my own business, so I'm doing okay. But I never really focused on actually finding one girl and focusing just on her, which I'm willing to do now. You'd think I'd know by now, but I grew up way later than I should have, LOL. Well, dude, I was 23 when I lost my virginity, and then I had a girlfriend when I was 15 for 2 weeks, and then I didn't have my next full-on relationship until I was like 30, all right? So you're talking late in the game. When I first started teaching guys how to date, I was teaching them how not to date because I was more aware of what not to do than what to do. So it doesn't matter when you get in the game as long as you know what the game is. But I want you to not punish yourself over the fact that you used to be a playboy. Because here's the thing where I try to stress to you guys that, like, we'll equate being a playboy with being the traditional bad boy. There are things that bad boys and the playboys do that the so-called nice guys could actually learn. So however you were getting women as a playboy, you should be using that same tactic to get them now, but just know that on the other end of that, you're going to treat them immensely better. Like, it's personally fine if you're able to attract 2, 3, 4 women to date at a time. That's totally fine, because in the dating phase, all that is the research phase. You are not betrothed to any one particular girl. So during the dating phase, it's totally fine if you're dating multiple women. It's when you're trying to get into a relationship that you're going to narrow that down. So if you're able to get 3 or 4 girls to date, that's totally fine. You don't have to hook up with all of them. You could say, hey, I'm gonna just date them all, and then once I narrow down who I want to be with, then I'll hook up with them. Or you could hook up with all of them. It's the dating phase. It's totally fine. But don't feel bad or beat yourself up about that. The process of attracting women doesn't change. Like, and I know there's this also thought that guys have sometimes are like, well, the girls I was trying to attract as a playboy, I was doing certain things, but now I want a good girl, and so I don't want to do those same tactics. Good girls want those same tactics. I can assure you, I have dated some well-to-do, nice Christian girls who are all the things in bed and do the freakiest stuff. And they don't want to be treated differently just because they might be a little more polished in public, shall I say. So your mistake is thinking, I got to treat these new girls differently because I want a certain kind of girl and I want to be a certain way. And those girls want to be treated like all the girls that you beforehand possibly thought were just like slutty girls that just wanted to hook up with you. Like, that tactic, those things don't change. Like, and I've learned behind the scenes, the nice girl and the so-called like bad bee or the mean girl, like, inherently parallel wise, they want the same stuff, but the world views the nicer girls the same way that girls view the nice guy. Like, they don't think nice guys have a sexual bone in their body. And so we want to be mad at women for judging us that way. But then when we want to get a good girl, we start thinking, and they would never do, and I can't approach them this, and blah, blah, blah. And they totally want that. And they all fall for the same stuff because they want the same stuff, because they want a guy that finds them attractive enough to do those things on. And so what you got to do, take those same, wherever your playboy tactics were to try to get women attracted, use those same tactics, because it's totally fine to authentically attract women in the way that you know how, and then just know you're going to treat them better. You're going to take them out. You're going to date 4 or 5 women and take them on dates and, see what the conversation's like and see what they're about before you make that judgment. The mistake I don't want you to make is thinking, okay, one girl at a time. If I choose this girl, I'm just going to go straight for her, because you don't know if she's even worthy of you making that decision. This is why this goes back to guys make decisions about women within a span of like 2 or 3 dates, and they need more time to vet. You need more time to vet. So you need to not be thinking, okay, I'm gonna go on a dating app and just find this one girl, and we're gonna talk a little bit. I'm gonna take this one girl out, because you do not know in person how she's going to be. You don't know in a span of a month or 2 if she's going to be the same person on date 5 as she is on date 1. And so it behooves you to go with the strategy of going after multiple women, but then knowing that in that process, you're going to narrow it down to 1. So the goal is you narrow it down to 1, but in the dating process, you start by dating like 3 or 4 at a time. So hopefully that makes you feel less apprehensive about doing that. Like, don't punish yourself for living the playboy lifestyle. I can assure you, even good girls like the idea of their guy being able to get other women. We got a question in the chat, and the question goes, hi, coach. What's a good way to keep conversations going? Also, is work a good conversation topic on dates? So the first part of that question, the answer, which I've said on here before, is follow-up questions. Most women find on dates that guys are overtaking the conversation or they do the thing that I find very annoying in conversations, because I am a great conversationalist, not to brag, but like I can have a woman talking to me, say something, and I can do like 3 or 4 follow-up questions before I ever talk about myself. And I find most guys don't do that. They'll do like, a woman will say like, oh yeah, I went to Harvard. And the guy's like, oh, you went to Harvard? I went to Stanford and blah, 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 blah. That's great. So anyway, then when I was 5, I got this tricycle. Oh, I got a tricycle too. Like I got a tricycle with the motors on, blah, blah. Like they, instead of following up on what the woman says, they want to take the story. Unfortunately, that now kills the conversation. And so you will typically have the conversation stretch a lot further if you just follow with what she said. She says, hey, so yeah, I went to Harvard. Oh, wow, what was that like? Oh, it was cool. We had class, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's interesting. Did you go at the same time as Mark Zuckerberg? Well, no, I wish you went blah, blah, blah. Like, women present things to you in a way to help you with conversation. And what guys do is say, nope. And what you need to be doing is taking what she's giving you and running with it, ask 3 or 4 follow-up questions, and then interject your own story followed by another question. So if it were me, she says, oh, I went to Harvard. Oh, tell me about that experience. Oh, it was cool, blah, blah, blah. And I took this, that class. Oh, what was that class about? Oh, that class, blah, blah, blah. Wow, that sounds like such a hard class. I remember I took this one class in college that was kind of like that. Like it was like this other course, but it was like 6 weeks and I just couldn't do it. But like, man, it seems like you did a really good job at it. Notice I talked about myself and then I threw it right back to her. If you do that, you will find that most conversations become very, very easy because the woman's the one supplying all the words. And then when you're asking her follow-up questions, guess what she's doing? She's feeling seen, she's feeling heard, and she's feeling as though you actually are interested in her beyond more than just the physical, which will usually make her want to now give up the physical. It's amazing how that happens if you only know how to do follow-up questions. So that's the first part. Second part is work a good conversation topic? Here's the thing, because there's a lot of flack about like, don't talk about work or because it's so boring, this and that. Realistically, at some point in time, you're going to want to know what she does. She's going to want to know what you do. It's not the worst thing in the world. You can use a work conversation, though, as a jumping off point for more interesting stuff. So if somebody were to ask me like, oh, Harry, what do you do? Oh, I'm a dating coach for guys. And, I do a podcast and blah, 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 this and that. It's like, oh, that's so fascinating. Yeah, I know. But, I really got into it because I had problems back in the day of dating. Like, hey, dating, am I right? Like, isn't that a crap show? Like, what's your dating life been like? Boom. Now I'm off the subject of my work and talking about her again and whatever she likes to do. So always you can find ways to start off with work as a basis and then try to take something that she talks about from the span of work stuff and then run with that instead, So I'll try to give an example in a moment. So let's say you say to her, so what do you do for work? She's like, oh, I work as a receptionist. Oh, where? I work at this doctor's office. Oh, a doctor's office. Interesting. Like, how'd you get into that thing of work? Well, I was trying for this job, blah, 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 and this and that. Oh, really? Well, were you always passionate about that? Or were you passionate about something else? Oh, well, I was actually passionate about dancing. Oh, so you're a dancer. Boom. Now you're off work and into what she actually cares about. So you can always use one thing to segue into something else if you don't want to stay stuck on any particular subject. So hopefully that helps you out. You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class